Even though we don't know the exact cause of ADHD, because there's probably a lot of different causes, that's the truth, we do know that it's not a random diagnosis. In 90% of cases shown to be heritable, genetic, 90%.
What about environmental factors in terms of the household they're raised in or having a chaotic family life? Does that play any role? Dr. Sportelli, what causes ADHD?
All right, that is a loaded question because it's incredibly hard to answer. And I don't want to say that we don't know. What I can say, and let me start here. I went into medicine because I wanted to find answers. I was that guy that studied biology because I needed to know what made my body work, right? I needed answers. And
well, why did you need to know that?
Why did I need to know that? Control, anxiety, right? And I told you, listen, I'm completely open. I think something that drew me to psychiatry was that I've experienced things in my own life, depression, anxiety, and things like that. And I've been that guy that always wanted answers. And it's funny because psychiatry is a very gray profession. We don't have a lot of answers. We have a lot of theories. So I'm always looking for the answers, right? When you think about something like ADHD, which is controversial, right? Or it used to be pretty controversial. The more empirical data that we can get makes me feel better tremendously with the diagnosis and treatment. I want to know that it's something real, right? So what I can say is even though we don't know the exact cause of ADHD, because there's probably a lot of different causes, that's the truth, we do know that it's not a random diagnosis. It's not a random diagnosis. And over 1,800, it's 1,800 up till now, specific studies on genetics and heredity. This is something that is highly heritable. It's something that transfers in the genes, right? That in and of itself makes it much more concrete. So if someone has ADHD, right, it's in 90% of cases shown to be heritable, genetic, 90%. Okay?
Does that mean that the parents have to show signs of ADHD?
Right, so some of the statistics show that if a father has ADHD, 1/3 of all children from that father will have diagnosable ADHD.
Okay.
Right? If twins, identical twins, if one has ADHD, the statistical power that the other one will have ADHD is just so incredibly strong. It's 4 times more likely if you have ADHD that you're going to have someone in your first generation of genetic heritability that they're going to have ADHD as well. 4 times than the general population. Wow. These are pretty significant numbers, right? So there's something happening on the genetic level. There's some information that is heritable, right? So that's what I mean by it's not just a random diagnosis, right? The other things that we're looking at as research scientists, and this is the stuff that I love the neuroscience and the neurology. As a medical doctor, I dig into this stuff. What we do is we visualize the human brain, and we have that capability now with functional MRIs. We can take a picture of the human brain while you're doing certain activities, certain thoughts, certain feelings, and we can see what areas of the brain light up, for example. So there have been a multitude of studies with people with ADHD compared to normal controls or people that don't carry the diagnosis. And there are some significant consistencies. And one thing that we see that I found very interesting is that the part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, the basal ganglia, the cerebellum, have shown that it's 5% smaller in people that are exhibiting signs of ADHD. It's 5% more underdeveloped than people that do not have ADHD. And the prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that helps us make decisions, helps us be less impulsive. It's executive functioning, right? It's not as developed in people with ADHD. Why that is, that's the big question still. We don't know. The other things that we see from an empirical scientific standpoint is we do know that there are certain areas of the brain and certain neurotransmitters implicated. For example, dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that is responsible for executive function, a reward system, focus and attention. We see when you sample the cerebrospinal fluid or the blood of people, the metabolites of dopamine is much lower than people that don't have ADHD. The activity of dopamine in those areas of the brain that I talked about, the prefrontal cortex, is lower when you look at functional imaging. It's lower in those areas of the brain in people that have ADHD. So we see the neurotransmitter connection. We see the organic biology of the brain itself being a little bit different, right? So we see these things that are very real.
Are there other causes or consequences of having a part of your brain that's 5% smaller or less dopamine that have nothing to do with ADHD?
Yeah. So, things like mood disorders, believe it or not, are also implicated in, obviously, the neurotransmitter theory of depression, for example, and dopamine is one of those. So there are certain things that can certainly present other ways with similar brain, studies, right? The other things that we see too, there was a study done in 2011 or 2010, I believe, that showed that when they looked at people with learning disabilities, not just ADHD, but learning disabilities, there was a higher correlation with toxic substances like heavy metals, phthalates, BPA, non-stick Teflon type stuff, like all of these sort of heavy metal toxicities and things that can also cause an ADHD-like syndrome. So we see environmental exposures, we see biology of the brain, and we see a neurotransmitter system that does point to something here, right? And the genetics. So we know it's not a random diagnosis. We know it's very real.
Yeah.
The why is still eluding us. And, that's a tough one. That's a hard one.
If you like psychology and learning about mental health and want to learn more while meeting other people who are interested, explore your membership options using the link below this video or visit MedCircle.com.
Hearing all of that, I don't see how I could ever argue saying that ADHD would be anything other than real. That's really compelling information. What about environmental factors in terms of the household they're raised in or having a chaotic family life? Does that play any role?
It does, but and it's such a good question, but that's going to play more of a role in behavior, right? Because behavior is a learned thing, right? I mean, there's definitely genetic components of behavior, right? Certain people are just introverts, extroverts, things like that, right? But the way a child is treated in the home or raised will have a very significant impact, I should say, on their behavior. And then we talked a little bit about behavior, right? How does a child respond when they want something, when they want attention, when they want to get away from something? So your environment with your family is going to play a part in the behavioral aspect. If you have ADHD and you're really frustrated all the time because you can't focus, pay attention, get along with your peers, you're going to probably act a certain way, and then your family's going to treat you a certain way, your friends are going to treat you a certain way, and that's going to exacerbate the behavioral component.
Yep.
So it all plays in.
Is there any new research being done in terms of the causes of ADHD that you haven't mentioned?
Most of the research now is heavily weighted into brain imaging and genetics.
Okay.
That's all the research is on right now.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, thousands and thousands of articles out there.
Can someone develop ADHD in their 50s?
So that's a controversial, adult onset ADHD is a controversial diagnosis. There was a recent study that did show that certain adults do develop an ADHD-like syndrome when they're older. 1/3 of all kids that have ADHD will go on to continue having ADHD in adulthood over the age of 18. So if you have ADHD, it's 1/3 of them are going to pretty much continue having ADHD.
But that means 2/3 will grow out of it?
Sort of grow out of it. But do they really grow out of it?
Okay.
Or do they just learn to live life better and cope with their ADHD and become more efficient at life based on treatment, based on therapy, right? So we don't know. Right?
Okay.
But they don't exhibit the symptoms as much.
Yeah, but that was a big point you just said.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of parents, when their kid gets that diagnosis of ADHD, they mourn. They mourn that diagnosis. But guys, there's 2/3 of them are not going to have it when they're 15, 16.
True. They may grow out of it, but I don't like to use the term grow out of it. I think the term that we should use is they're going to get better because they're going to learn how to deal with it, how to learn to deal with the disorder in a more efficient way that they can live completely normal lives.
Maybe even grow into it.
Right. It's a good point. Whether that's using specific treatment modalities, which we'll discuss, but they're going to get better most of the time.
Wow. I thought if once you were diagnosed with ADHD, that was it. You had it forever.
Yeah, not necessarily. But you brought up a question that I think is worth addressing. Is there adult onset ADHD? So if you're 50 years old and you suddenly have attention and focus issues, as a doctor, that raises a lot of red flags, and ADHD is not the first one on my list, okay? Because if a 50-year-old gentleman presents to my office and says, Doc, I can't concentrate and focus, and I've never had this before, I'm gonna think of many other things, right? First of all, medical, right? A neurological issue, some sort of stroke or a neurologic issue has to be ruled out. You know, any sort of thyroid issue, sugar issue is more likely in an adult, right? You're more likely to have a medical problem than a young, healthy 6-year-old running around, right? So medical stuff is going to be much more focused on in an adult. You also have to look at like the dementias, early onset dementias and things like that. So it's going to be a very different diagnostic approach in an adult. A lot more rule outs are going to have to happen.
What's the youngest and oldest person you've ever diagnosed with ADHD?
I'd say the youngest that I'd be comfortable treating with a medication personally, and I use this loosely because I'm very conservative with medication treatment, but I've treated 5-year-olds, you know, and the oldest, I'd probably say 60s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you ruled out all other medical things, and you go, okay, if it's not this, this, and this, it has to be ADHD.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, one of the diagnostic criteria for ADHD, which we will talk about, right, is it's something that pretty much had to be present before the age of 12. So don't forget, just because you never received the diagnosis until 30 or 40 or 50, doesn't mean you weren't just dealing with it or flying under the radar or, you know, just living a pretty frustrated life for a really long time before it was addressed.
When it comes to ADHD causes, what is the thing we're not talking about that people should know?
You know, I think something important is to note risk factors. Right? So what we do see with things like ADHD especially is that there's a higher correlation with pregnant mothers that used tobacco, smoking cigarettes, and drank alcohol throughout pregnancy. A higher incidence of children that end up with ADHD. The other thing, we do see a correlation between low birth weight and premature babies have a higher likelihood of being diagnosed with ADHD. So those would be considered risk factors, low birth weight, and pregnant mothers using alcohol and tobacco.
What do you hope in 20 years we'll know about ADHD?
I hope that, 20 years, wow. So medicine and research is exponential. So in 20 years, aside from flying around in cars and stuff like that.
Please, can we get that done?
I think we're gonna identify a gene that's specific to ADHD and learning and attention problems and concentration and focus. I think that the genetics of it are gonna be very, very well understood. And I think that's gonna be more of the treatment modality.
Now, I asked what you hope. Do you think that is possible?
20 years, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
Yes.
Wonderful. Really informative. Thank you.